Hello, my name is Dakota Wintrode, and I'm currently coming to the very end of my first co-op at Northeastern. I currently am, a youth years intern at Ashoka in Santiago, Chile. The NU Careers description was completely false for what I've been doing because they have constant staff changes. Well, they only had one other co-op before me, so she was doing something completely different than what I'm doing now because the person she worked under now works in the U.S., and my boss was in the U.S. when she was working here. So now and the description was completely wrong, but I loved the company, so that when I got there and I realized that, or during the interview process when I kind of put that together, it didn't affect me wanting to work here. And I think actually what I'm doing now is better suited for my major. My job was unpaid. It wasn't hard for me to manage because I got the Presidential Global Scholarship, so that made it a lot easier, and it was definitely worth it to do an unpaid co-op. Maybe without the scholarship, not as much, because it can be expensive, especially if you want to travel. But because I had that scholarship and it basically accounted to $1,000 a month, kind of made it really easy, especially since the price of living down here is a little less than in the U.S. I spent the majority of my time working directly with my boss. We are a staff of 4 women, and then sometimes we have another journalism intern throughout the time that we're here, because we hire and then they only work in very little intervals, our journalism majors or interns. I loved working directly with my boss. It was an experience I don't know if I'll have again unless I work at another little nonprofit. Ashoka's international, but my branch is so little. And it was really special to be able to work right with my boss. I always felt like an integral part of the team, except if they were all women that were in their mid-30s. So sometimes if they were speaking really fast in Spanish about topics I couldn't really relate to, so I didn't really know the vocab, it was hard for me to relate. But everything work-related, besides social things, like social things in the office, like making friends, work-related, I've always felt like an integral part of the team. And my duties did evolve and grow a lot over my time because I got a lot more responsibility as they realized what I can handle in Spanish and what I can handle in general. What I wish I would have known before I went into the co-op was how much free time I was going to have, and I would have taken advantage of it more because my schedule was completely all over the place. So every day my boss texts me if we're going to meet up at all or if I'm going to work from home and where we're going to meet up, because it's not always the same. And this always happened. This started to happen. So at first I worked in an office. We had an office space, but my boss didn't always come because she had meetings, but it was always me in the office. But to skip to number 5, did anything surprise you about your co-op? The work schedule definitely did surprise me. I didn't think it would be like that. And then going off of that, the protests that happened in Chile. So protests happened because of a lot of different things, and they've been going on. They're still going on now. And when they started, I wasn't able to work for about 2 weeks. So I was able to work, but not at the office. And then ever since then, we've been meeting kind of outside the city just because it's safer. And so we eventually gave up the office space that we had because we just don't go anymore. So that's something I wish I would have known, is that it would have been all over the place, because I love structure, and I feel like I would have created more structure for myself. I was taking Spanish classes, but I had to take them at weird intervals of the day because I was working, or not at weird intervals, but at intervals that I thought would be a normal 9-to-5 job. And then when my job became, we would start at 10 and leave at 3 and meet up at 5. And it all depended on what my boss would text me that day. It was hard for me to maintain that structure that I think I could have, if I would have known beforehand, I could have helped. And then definitely what surprised me was just that there was this big social unrest that happened. That was definitely the thing that surprised me the most. I learned about myself that I do love that structure, and I feel like I couldn't maintain this very long. My boss texting me in the morning if we're even going to meet up and where, and I have to be there by a certain time. And sometimes I would wake up at an early time. My boss would be like, we're meeting in a half hour, and the train wouldn't get me there for 45 minutes, and I'd have to rush. So there's that. And then I learned that I like a very open managerial style. My boss and I working together all the time, it was so easy to ask questions. And because I'm so new and starting out and it's all in Spanish, that was so important to me. And I did learn how to organize my time and ask for more direction because I had that open relationship with her. It was so easy to be like, I can't get this done in time, like, or you gave me way too much time and now I have no work. It was really easy because we had that relationship. And the most exciting, meaningful, interesting task, my job is to work with youth change makers. Change makers is a Ashoka phrase for young people, and we interview them and we write a profile for them. So I was tasked with making a sub-program page off of our website for all these profiles, and had a lot of meetings with the U.S. International Office, and it was just awesome. Like, I was the point person, so anytime someone had a question about this website, I was doing it, and I was talking to so many, like, young people, and I really loved it, being the point person, because I felt like I didn't have that happened midway through my co-op, that my boss gave me that task, and I feel like I finally had something that I could put all my energy into and kind of make my own, and now I'm so proud of it. Anytime someone asks me a question about the page, I know the answer because I spent so much time and effort learning all the ins and outs of it. So that was awesome. And I was not prepared to do it at first. I had to have so many meetings with the international office in the U.S. to learn about, because it's not just me making a website, it's the Ashoka website, and I had to learn all how to do it. So I had a lot of Skype meetings with them. My preparation and interview process was not smart of me. I didn't do it right. My co-op advisor, Lisa, would know I put all my eggs into one basket, and I'm so thankful that I got the job. But going into my second co-op, I definitely would not have, and I was completely prepared by the class. Don't do that. You have to keep looking. But I had such a niche area that I wanted. I wanted to work in South America. I wanted to work at a small nonprofit. I wanted to speak Spanish the whole time. It kind of led me right to Ashoka, Chile, and I wouldn't let it go because that was always a dream for me, and I wouldn't let it go. And looking back, I'm thankful that it worked out as it did. But going in my next one, I won't do that, because the odds that I would get a co-op like that, or I would get the one that I put into, is not high. So a tip for anyone is don't put all your eggs in one basket, because the odds it'll work out are not so high. Any weird social situations or ethical dilemmas that I had revolved around the relationship I had with my boss. So she was my best friend. When I came here, I don't have many friends here. There are only two other people on co-op here in Chile, and they live very far away from me, outside of the city. I live right in Center City. And I didn't even get to meet them till a month in, and it was really hard to make friends. I live with a host family, so my boss really, really made sure she invited me to family dinner. I've been to both her family's houses. I was invited to her wedding. I've lived in her house when all the protests happened, and I think it just happened that way because, it's not like I live in a university with other students. She was my only, besides my family, she was the only person I could go to say if I was stressed. And she's such a natural, hosting person that she would just invite me over, and it would never affect our work, and it never made anything weird. And I'm thankful for that. But we always joke, she's like, you're going to get back to the U.S. with your next boss and be like, hey, you want to hang out? And they're going to be like, what? And I think so. A little bit of an ethical dilemma that I had was balancing my relationship with her professionally and as a friend, because to be honest, she has been one of my best friends here, or she is my best friend here. And I'm so, that was exactly what I needed when I came here as a lost puppy and when all the protests happened, and I was so, so scared. And my host mom was actually away at the time, so I was living alone, and I didn't know what to do. So I think, again, I talked about the open relationship we had, and anytime anything weird came up, we would talk through it. And yeah, I'm truly I think I was very lucky in that sense. And then the last question, the one I chose, was personal perspective. How did my co-op experience change my view of society? I think it's hard not to talk about the protests and all that happened, because it definitely changed my view of society. I learned so much about neoliberalism and the use of violence as a political tactic. It really changed how I think of myself in the world, how I think of people and their right to change. And I'm so thankful that I was here for that. It was so historic. I bought a newspaper that says La Marcha de Millón, and it's the March of a Million, and it's how much changed after Chile came together and had this huge peaceful march, and it was awesome and so beautiful to see. I'm almost tearing. It was so beautiful. And I'm so lucky. And as much as it made me so lonely at times, and it stopped me from doing my work, and if I didn't have such a strong support system here with my boss and my host family, I would have gone home because I was offered that many times. But it really showed me what you can do. And just living in another country, there's so much unrest going on right now, or protests going on right now in Hong Kong, in France, and I got to live through one of, like, I'm living it right now every day. Just yesterday I was on the bus, and we were stopped by a protester, the bus driver, and he was like, can I have your fire extinguisher? Like, the fire extinguisher from the bus, and they were collecting them, and I don't know what they eventually did with them. But it was just crazy. I was like, that was just taken off our bus. Like, so many things happen. I'm walking through the city with I have to wear I know the word in Spanish. I use a cloth to protect me from the tear gas that's going on. It's crazy that I'm living through it, and it's really humbled me and thought how much of a bubble I live in and how people need to fight for change, and it's all jumbled in my head. But I'm so thankful and proud of Chile and so happy to have lived here for the past 6 months. I know I put all my eggs in one basket the first time, and I won't do it again, but it was so worth it. I loved my time here, and looking forward to the next co-op. Thank you.